but I'm just a rock chick.
I would describe my music and my sound as Avril Lavigne.
It's the best damn thing.
Welcome back to another bonus edition of the Best Damn Avril Lavigne podcast, a facts and trivia-based podcast about Canadian pop singer Avril Lavigne. I'm your host, Andrew DiFrancesco. Before we begin today's episode, I just want to quickly explain why I haven't posted in a couple months. I just frankly haven't followed up to it lately because of the winter blues, the winter blahs. We all kind of get that at this time of year. And just trying to find quiet time to record due to noise going on in my apartment is kind of tricky as well. And especially because we are getting into springtime now and nicer weather. There's kids playing outside of my apartment, or it's always for some reason when I'm ready to record, that's when my upstairs neighbors decide that they're gonna walk around and stuff. So it's just tricky to get a quiet time to record, and that can just kind of make it feel stressful to try to figure out when I can record. Trying to record an episode is already a lot of work, and then it's just another kind of added stress factor on top of it that kind of makes me sometimes just not want to do it, frankly. So because of that, I'm experimenting with a noise gate in my recording session while recording today to try to limit extra background noise. So just in case if anything sounds a little different or sounds a little off, I'm just kind of experimenting because I'm figuring when we get into summertime and there's just going to be more noise probably from outside and things like that. And so I'm just trying to figure out in the meantime what I can do to try to mitigate extra background noise. So if anything sounds a little off or different, hopefully it doesn't sound that different than what you're used to hearing. But, I'm just doing some experimenting to see what I can do just to make your listening experience as pleasurable as possible with minimal interruption, minimal background noise. But yeah, just in general with, the winter blues, kind of not feeling very motivated to do anything except sit on my couch and watch TV, basically, as we all like to do at this time of year. I just frankly wasn't feeling up for doing it. And, I don't want to do podcast episodes when I'm not feeling in the mood because then I'm not going to do my best work, And also I just have kind of lately for the last couple of months felt kind of in a creative rut, which, can happen from time to time, especially for people that do, create content or they're podcasters or do anything creative for a living. It's very common to get kind of, those writer's block or, any kind of creative block like that. And so sometimes it's just good and necessary to step away from the work in order to get re-inspired and kind of reignite that spark and that passion for what you do, and taking a break in order to get new ideas. Ironically, stepping away can help you kind of reignite your passion and help you, it kind of re-sparks your creativity. So I did have ideas for episodes, and then I later realized that it would take me longer than I thought to complete them, and so I wouldn't be able to get them done as quickly as I'd like. So it's I wanted to do something in the meantime, get an episode out while working on this thing. And, that's kind of working on 2 episodes at once, and it just felt like a lot of work. So I just kind of put it to the side for now. Or I had an idea to do something Grammys related in February when the Grammys were happening, but then the month kind of came and went. And so to release it after the fact, it just wouldn't be relevant anymore. And so I, kind of missed the boat on that one. And so just things like that happening where it's I actually I was thinking about the podcast and I had ideas and I was oh, I really should get something up. But then, it's just kind of hard sometimes to figure out, going through my list of ideas, what do I want to do? Certain things are going to take longer than others because of the research involved, and just figuring out what is the most timely thing to put out, and then also dependent on what Avril is doing. And so sometimes it's just very tricky to figure out where to go direction wise with episode ideas and stuff. And so I just thought it would be a good idea to wait until the right time to pick back up again. And with the announcement of some of these new collabs on the way and a new single coming soon from Avril, that now just seemed to make sense that this was the right time to pick back up again. So as always, I thank everyone for their patience. If you've been wondering where I've been the last couple months and when is there going to be a new episode out, I just thank you for your patience, and thank you for your understanding that with this type of work, and especially because I'm doing it all on my own, I don't have a team of producers or editors or anything like that, or a social media team. I do every step of this process by myself. And I also do have a full-time job as well, and other projects that I like to pursue from time to time as well. So I just appreciate your understanding with that, sometimes I'm not going to be able to get episodes out as often as I'd like. But I appreciate your support when I do get episodes out, and that people always, leave me nice feedback that they enjoy it and that they always look forward to when new episodes are out. So just as always, I appreciate you for sticking with me. So with all that being said, let's begin with a rundown of the latest news and events that have happened with Avril since our last episode. On January 24th, Lauren Christie released her version of Complicated for her project Their Hits My Way. She had previously released covers of Skater Boy and I'm With You. On January 25th, Avril attended the I Love LA donation drive at La La Land Kind Cafe to support those affected by the California wildfires. She spent time with Heidi Montag and Spencer Pratt, uploading videos to Snapchat and TikTok, and playing wine pong as well as recording in John Feldman's studio. A cameraman was seen filming while Avril was in the studio. On January 29th, Avril and Heidi did a photo shoot together. It is currently unknown what the photos are for, but fans theorize they may be collaborating on a song together. In an interview with SiriusXM, Heidi hinted at collaborating with a famous singer and revealed that she would be joining them on tour at Madison Square Garden. Avril is scheduled to play MSG on her Greatest Hits tour on May 30th. During the broadcast of the 67th Annual Grammy Awards on February 2nd, Avril appeared in a commercial to support a local skate shop called Pally Skates in Palisades Village, which had burned down in the recent wildfires. On February 7th, rapper Tyga released a song called Gone off his album NSFW, which samples When You're Gone. On February 9th, an outtake from the 8th album leaked called You're a Jerk, featuring Gayle. It's a reworked version of the previously leaked song So Cruel. On February 11th, Vans Warped Tour posted an Instagram reel announcing Avril as a performer for June 15th in Washington, D.C. The video appeared to be filmed on the same day Avril visited John Feldman at his recording studio with Heidi. On February 12th, she posted more stories from the studio along with her former makeup artist Gabriel Pandoro. On February 13th, Avril was announced as a headliner for the All Your Friends Fest on June 29th in Burles Creek, Ontario, Canada. On February 18th, another song from the 8th album sessions leaked called Cherry Pop, also featuring Gayle. On February 25th, When We Were Young Fest announced a second festival date for October 19th that will contain the same lineup as the previous day. On February 26th, Billy Idol announced his first album in over a decade called Dream Into It, which will feature a collaboration with Avril called 77. The album will be released on April 25th. In an interview with iHeartRadio, Billy described Avril as incredible and said that the song came alive with her on it and that she made the song 3 times better. On the same day, Avril was announced as a headliner for Festival de Tag de Quebec in Quebec City on July 4th. On February 28th, Avril posted an Instagram reel announcing a partnership with PC Optimum. On March 1st, the full version of Reason with All Time Low leaked. On March 16th, another unfinished demo leaked called Stars. On March 18th, Avril announced she will be releasing a new single before the start of the Greatest Hits tour. While she did not reveal the song's title or release date, she did post a lyric, "I'm still thinking about that summer when we had each other." On the same day, Machine Gun Kelly released a tribute song called Your Name Forever, dedicated to a mutual friend who had passed away named Luke Dingo Trembath. Avril appears briefly in the song's music video, and she had posted a tribute on her social media after his passing. On March 24th, Trevin Dawson and Tyler Kay performed a country cover of I'm With You for the battle round of season 27 of NBC's The Voice. Additionally, Avril was ranked number 19 on Billboard's list of the top 20 female artists of the 21st century, outranking Christina Aguilera. She's also the highest-ranking Canadian artist. And a new song was registered on ASCAP by Ian Dior featuring Avril called You Let It Happen. So that brings us pretty up to date with all the little tidbits and everything that have happened with Avril since our last episode. And just a couple additional notes. I wanted to tell you that my husband got me the Girlfriend Funko Pop for Valentine's Day this year. So now I have the complete collection of all the Avril Funko Pops so far. I have the Let Go album cover, the Complicated one, the Skater Boy one, and now the Girlfriend one. And I don't know if they're going to make any more Funko Pops. Like, I'm surprised they haven't made any Under My Skin ones yet, but maybe that's next in the works. If they're popular enough, maybe they'll make more, but that'd be really cool if they did make some other ones for her other albums. So now my Funko Pop collection is complete. And I also wanted to tell you something interesting that I discovered recently. So maybe like a month or two ago, I was watching this movie. It was a Disney Channel original movie. I was watching it on Disney Plus, and the movie came out in 2004 called Pixel Perfect. And in the background of one of the characters' bedrooms is some old school, like Let Go era Avril posters, which I thought was really interesting because I had never seen this movie before. And it's always really fun when you're watching a TV show or a movie or something for the first time and you spot an Avril kind of like Easter egg or an Avril reference in there somewhere. A couple of years ago, I did an episode about Avril references in pop culture, if you'd like to go back and have a listen to that if you haven't heard that one. I did do an episode a while ago compiling a bunch of different references of Avril in different movies and TV shows and other artists' songs and books and things like that. Just any reference that I could think of Avril in pop culture. But obviously, it's hard to capture all of them, and there's always going to be new ones that crop up or ones that I missed, like this one. So I guess this is one that we can add to that list of Avril references in pop culture is the Disney Channel movie Pixel Perfect. You can spot some Let Go era Avril posters, and I thought that was just a really fun find. I want to also briefly give my thoughts on these new songs that leaked. I didn't really get to listen to them as thoroughly as the last episode we did was about a ton of songs that had leaked, a lot being from the 8th album. I didn't really get as much of a chance to listen to these ones because they weren't really as widely circulated. Like I wasn't seeing them on YouTube. I saw them mainly through Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it now. And it didn't seem to be like the full songs. So like it wasn't quite as maybe like as I don't want to call it a proper leak, but it wasn't like as widely leaked as the last ones and like a little bit harder to find and stuff. So I didn't really get as much of a chance to digest these ones, but I did just like kind of write down a few notes so I could remember what I thought about the songs when I heard them. So my thoughts on Cherry Pop. So I haven't been able to hear You're a Jerk at this point, but, you know, from what people have said is that it's very similar to So Cruel, which I did hear. So I'm going to just kind of assume there's not too many differences with that one. But the song Cherry Pop. So it's interesting how she's done quite a few songs with Gail. I think that's just kind of interesting that they collaborated in the studio, not just on like one song, but on, I think at least 3 at this point, possibly more that we don't even know about. But the Cherry Pop song, to me, it sounded like a mix of The Best Damn Thing and Love Sucks. And the lyrics and theme reminded me a lot of Hot. And to me, it was just an okay song. And there didn't really seem to be a lot of Gail on it. Like, unlike the other collaboration that they did, One of Us, where she got a whole verse, Gail didn't really seem to be as much a part of this one, and I thought the bridge could have used more work. So to me, it was just an all right song. I frankly don't really remember a lot of what it sounds like. Then the all-time low song, Reason, it sounded very 2010s to me. I, again, didn't have too much of an opinion about this one. And then the latest one being Stars, to me, I felt it was kind of boring and repetitive. Like, we only have the hook or the chorus. I think the verse parts, the parts where the verses would go, it was all just an instrumental. Like, she hadn't filled in the lyrics yet. So she clearly didn't get very far in the writing process with it. So just all we had was the hook. And it was just, to me, kind of boring and repetitive. Lyrically, nothing that special. And it also kind of sounded a bit dated to me as well, like very 2012. Like, I guess what it makes me think of is maybe it makes me think of the song Airplanes by B.O.B. with Haley Williams, like the hook from that song. It kind of reminds me of songs of that era, I guess. And yeah, I just kind of thought for me, the hook, it was like not just repeating the lyrics, but it was also repeating the same melody kind of. I think it just kind of didn't have enough variation in it. When I was in college, I took a music history class, and something that we learned in that class that I have always carried with me to this day is repetition without variation leads to boring music. And to me, this is an example of that, is that it's just the hook is very repetitive. The lyrics repeat, the melody repeats. And then because we don't even have the verses, that's like all we have for the song. So to me, that's kind of just what I thought of is like, it's just too repetitive to the point that it's just musically very uninteresting in my opinion. So yeah, I didn't really have too much of an opinion about the leaked songs. And honestly, I have said this before, and just considering how many songs have leaked from the 8th album so far, I really wish that songs would stop getting leaked, because I think it's just delaying the album even further. Because I think once a song leaks, Avril decides to scrap it. Unfortunately, she doesn't like just decide to go ahead and release it. She doesn't put it on an album. And so it seems to me like she probably starts from scratch. And so it's like the more songs that get leaked, then that means she has to keep starting over. And we have seen that. We have seen her in the studio, as I mentioned, with John Feldman a lot lately, is that she has been in the studio a lot, probably starting from square one, maybe even over again. And so I think it's just kind of a discouraging thing to see when her songs get leaked, because it probably means that they're never going to get released officially. And so now we just have all these songs floating around out there, or her team takes them down. So now not only did the songs get leaked, but there's no way of ever hearing them like properly or even just on the internet, because like she's not going to use them, but they also scrub them from the internet. So I really just wish that that would stop happening. I'm just like frankly kind of frustrated that this keeps happening, and I don't know what she can personally do about it. And, you know, her label situation is still very unclear as well. Like, we have no idea why all these leaks are happening, if it's because of something to do with her label, or if maybe she has like, maybe if it's because she left the label and went to a new label, she wouldn't be able to bring these songs with her. Like, who knows? That situation is still very unclear. I just think it's got to be discouraging for her as well, because she obviously doesn't want her work to get leaked, and she's in the middle of working on an album, and then, you know, people leaking stuff is kind of spoiling it for her. I think the leaks seem to be kind of slowing down because there's a lot less of them happening and less frequently, but it still seems to be a thing that's unfortunately happening still. I also wanted to give my thoughts on these 2 collaborations. One of them is a confirmed collaboration. The other is a potential collaboration, but not confirmed yet. So the potential Heidi Montag collaboration, the signs are really pointing to them having a collaboration together because they were not only in the studio together, but they also did a photo shoot together as well. And then there was that interview that Heidi gave where she was like, I'm collaborating with a famous singer and I'm going to sing with them at Madison Square Garden. And a lot of people thought maybe she was talking about a remix of one of her songs with Pitbull, but that was actually, she had already talked about that in the same interview before mentioning this soundbite. So it really seems to point to being an Avril collaboration, but we haven't heard any official confirmation about it yet, which is a little bit strange. Because then if Heidi wants to perform with Avril at Madison Square Garden, that's going to be in May. So the song will definitely have to be out in the next couple of months for that to happen. So my thoughts on Heidi Montag, I mean, I am not opposed to bubblegum pop music or like that party music. Like I have a copy of every Britney Spears album, so I'm not opposed to that kind of music. And I actually do like a couple of Heidi's songs off her 2010 album, Superficial. Like I do have a couple guilty pleasure songs off that album that I like. But I just think her and Avril, it just seems like a really strange combination. Like I just don't know what kind of a song they could come up with together. Like all I can think of, like the best case scenario kind of thing I can think of them doing together is something like Hello Kitty, which is not my favorite song from Avril, and I don't think it's a favorite amongst most of her fans, but that's kind of what I'm imagining the two of them coming up with. So personally, it's not my ideal choice for a collaboration, and I don't view Heidi as like a serious singer. Like she's had this resurgence in popularity because her house burned down, and so Avril was kind of helping her and Spencer out with that, which is really nice. And fans decided to stream Heidi's album in support of her. And she's been re-releasing songs and putting out like a deluxe edition and all this stuff. So she's kind of taking advantage of the limelight that she's experiencing to raise funds to rebuild her house. So it's like, I get it. And her collaborating with somebody on Avril's level would kind of help with that. So it's like, I get it. I guess the silver lining, if they have to collaborate, is that, you know, Heidi is experiencing a resurgence in popularity. She's having a bit of a viral moment, I guess you could say, right now. But yeah, I just kind of am not super confident in what they would have come up with together. But, you know, there's always a chance to be pleasantly surprised. And Avril has proven me wrong on this kind of thing before. So I will be gladly proven wrong if it's like they come out with a real banger or like something that goes viral, you know, then it's done its job. But the collaboration that I'm really looking forward to, and I think a lot of her fans are really looking forward to, and I'm surprised that Avril hasn't confirmed it. She hasn't talked about it, but there was an article that came out confirming this collaboration with Billy Idol on his album. And, you know, it's his first album in like a solid decade. And so the fact that he asked Avril to be on this album on a song called 77, we have no idea what the song is about. I'm kind of wondering if it might be referring to like the year 1977 and if it would have like a 70s classic rock feel. I think that'd be super cool. And Joan Jett is also on another song on the album. So like she's in really good company. But the fact that Billy Idol, like he is a rock legend. The fact that he asked her to be on it, it's a song like Billy Idol featuring Avril, not Avril featuring Billy Idol. I think that is just like such a testament to, you know, her legacy, and the fact that like rock artists want to work with her, I think is such a cool like testament to her and her artistry. So that song is coming out, as I said, on April 25th. So, because like we don't know if it's going to be a proper single or anything. They haven't announced it being released in advance of the album. So I'm just assuming that it's going to come out on the same day as the album. But I'm really looking forward to hearing this one. And especially because Billy Idol, like I said, he gave a little interview saying that she, like the song was already good, but then she took it to the next level and made it 3 times better than the original. So that is really, really promising. And, you know, just singing her praises like that, you know, gives me a lot more hope than a Heidi Montag collaboration. And then the last thing that I want to address before we go is obviously the announcement of a new single before the tour. So Avril made a really brief announcement on her Instagram, like, who wants a new single before the tour starts? Like this, you know, that thing that people do. It's sort of like a rhetorical question, but the song is already done, definitely. But she didn't give a title or a release date yet, which is kind of frustrating. Some fans think that it's going to be a collaboration with Simple Plan because they're opening for her on tour. But I honestly feel like if that were the case, I think she would have made some kind of hint at that if that were the case. Like, you know, if you were having a collaboration with your tour mates, I just feel like she would have tagged them, or there would have been like some kind of hint, I think, because it would just kind of be weird to have a collaboration with someone but not mention anything about them. So even though there is no official release date yet, if it's coming before the tour starts, which is in May, it would have to be coming again in the next couple of months. And I would find it hard to believe if it came out around the same time as the Billy Idol collaboration, because I don't think they would want those to clash. But I could see it maybe coming out a week or two before the tour starts in order to like give fans time to get familiar with it. Because I mean, I'm assuming she's going to make it part of the tour set list. It'll give fans time to become familiar with it, but it won't feel like tired yet. Like if we have it for a solid month or two before the tour starts, I think we'd already be kind of sick of it in a way. And so I think, waiting till like maybe a week or two before the tour starts is probably just the right time. And it's also unclear if it's going to be the lead single for her new album or if it's just a promo single for now. I think it's possible that for now it's just a promo single to like just to give her something new to sing on tour, because otherwise the set list is going to be exactly the same as last year. And it's been like 3 years since she's put out new music. So I think it's just giving her a chance to sing something new and to make the set list a little more interesting. And it's very clear that the album is delayed now because of all these leaks that happened and possible label issues and whatever happened, or maybe her like not knowing what musical direction she wants to go in. I think there's just a lot of issues that have affected the rollout of the album. And so I think this is kind of just like maybe a teaser or a taster to kind of keep fans engaged and like to give her something new to perform as she works on that and as she works on continuing with the album and trying to, finish it up as quickly as possible. So I think for now, it's just going to be a standalone single, but will probably be added to the album later on. To be honest, I don't think that we're any closer to the release of the 8th album than we were before, just because of all these leaks and stuff. I think it's possible that once she finishes the tour that we might, either she'll take the time after the tour to finish the album and finish that in the fall with like a release in the first quarter of the new year, or perhaps, she'll finish it while on tour or something like that. And we could see it be put out in the fall. Who knows? It just feels like she's been at work on this album for like literal years. And I think it's because she has been. I think since late 2022, she's been at work on this album. And obviously a ton of the songs got leaked and stuff like that. And potential label issues that may or may not have happened. Or maybe she's just like not sure of the musical direction she wants to go in. And she's, kind of going back to the drawing board and scrapping things and starting over. And a lot of collaborations that are happening with Gayle, Youngblood, Simple Plan, All Time Low, now potentially Heidi Montag and Billy Idol. She's kind of just all over the place and maybe just kind of throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. It's kind of impossible to know where her head is at because she doesn't really share a lot with us and she kind of likes to keep things under wraps. Unlike a lot of artists nowadays, I think it's more common for artists to share a lot more of their behind the scenes process and kind of, use little teaser clips and things to keep fans engaged. But Avril, I think, is quite old school, where she is still going by that old school strategy of keeping everything under wraps, keeping everything a complete secret until it's ready for release. And so it's just kind of impossible sometimes in these circumstances to know where her head is at with these things because she just doesn't share that kind of stuff with us. But, regardless, it sounds like we have a lot of exciting things to look forward to, not just with the tour ramping back up, but, these collaborations coming out and a new single on the way soon. So I think what I'm going to do for the next episode is when these songs are finally out, I will definitely come back and do an episode talking all about them. And we'll have a bit more exciting things to talk about other than just speculation. It just feels like for a while it's just been speculation, and theories. And we will finally have something more concrete to talk about. So with that, we conclude this edition of the Best Damn Avril Lavigne podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your preferred podcast platform so you can get new episodes directly in your feed. And please don't forget to take a minute to leave a rating or review to help more fans find the show. We're currently streaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, and Audible. Be sure to join me again next time on the Best Damn Avril Lavigne podcast. The Best Damn Avril Lavigne podcast is hosted, produced, and edited by Andrea DiFrancesco. Theme music is HD and Lights by J. Powell Flicks. Follow the latest podcast news on Instagram at bestdamnavrilpod or email bestdamnavrilpod@yahoo.com.